What is up, everybody, and welcome back to round number 8 of this PSGL season. If you haven't been following along, make sure you go check out the other PSGL videos. Otherwise, I'll show you right now. Pretty much, last time out in Japan, which was the last race that we raced, it was a spicy one. I'll tell you what, we were in the battle, we were in the wars, and we were fighting for our life for this P5, which we did eventually get on the final lap, and it turned into a P4. So a fantastic result in Japan and probably the best race of the season so far. So make sure you go check out that episode right now before you watch this one in Belgium. If you have been following along, you will know we're in that fight to finish in the top 5 here in PSGL. We did miss the Imola Grand Prix last week. I had a conflict, so I couldn't attend. So that did drop us a little bit, but we're still there, battling for that P5. Just 1 point behind Casto in the AlphaTauri, who is pretty quick. He's been on the podium once or twice this season. And in the constructors, we're fighting for that P1. We are there. Miller the Driller, he's going to miss quite a few races for the end of the season, so I'm not sure how many more he will be attending. He's not in this one in Belgium, and he's not going to be in Saudi Arabia either. So that is a big miss, considering he's the one that is fighting for race wins in our team, and I'm the one kind of just picking up the scraps here and there, I guess you could say. But regardless, we do have a reserve racing for Williams, so maybe he could find some points and help us out in that constructors battle, because we are 9 points behind Mercedes, who have all of a sudden started winning races and picking it up. So they've got some serious pace. It does help that Nogueira, he is not here once again in Belgium, so Alfa Romeo probably won't pick up any points. I mean, I don't know if they have reserve drivers or how fast they are, but Nogueira is probably the fastest in this division. So it's always great when he's not here, because it gives us an extra position. But at the same time, you always want to be racing against the fastest guys. But anyway, let's focus on ourselves. On our first lap, we have put it P7, which was a decent lap time, but we're still about 1.1, 1.2 seconds away from P1. So at the end of the day, it's kind of stinky, but it is a very, very long track. So you can kind of get away with it just a little bit. But we are up 0.3 on our time as we try and brake really, really late into the bus stop chicane, and I don't know where we're going. We're off to the shops or something, because yeah, we completely missed our braking zone and no improvement there. And that was kind of a lap where I wanted to risk it into the bus stop chicane. If we could find an extra couple of tenths, that would have been nice. But we do have a lap on the board, you know. That's not usual for us. Usually we're just bottling it left, right and centre, and we don't even put a lap on the board. Going back to Qatar, going back to Austria, going back to pretty much every race before Japan, we just couldn't get that banker lap in. And at least we do have a banker lap, because there is a few people on the lead in this track right now in qualifying that hasn't put a lap on, so that they've been invalidating. So it's good to be ahead of them. As on our final lap, we went a little bit deeper into turn 1, but you can see over a tenth up. So maybe that is the meta. Go a little bit deeper. You can rotate your car a little better, and it worked out perfectly for us. So already a tenth, almost a tenth and a half up, which is brilliant, because I know I'm losing a lot of time in that middle sector as well as in the final sector as well. So to be a tenth and a half up almost through that first sector where I didn't think there was too much time is absolutely brilliant, as through there is, oh, beautiful, absolutely beautiful. We find half a second on this lap almost. We're absolutely flying. Could we be in for a top 5 starting position? We're flying in Belgium. It's 6 tenths. This is a lap and a half. As we take it a little easy. I don't know what that corner name. I should probably look up the corner names before I commentate. Maybe that'll actually help. But anyway, we take it easy around a couple of these corners, because the last thing we want to do now is invalidate when we're up over half a second, as we have a couple screen freezes. And you're going to look at the delta in the top right. Look at the delta in the top right. It drops from 7 tenths, 6.5 tenths to 7 tenths up to 3 tenths, because my screen froze. So when your screen freezes in an online lobby, pretty much your car's basically essentially stationary for like a couple tenths, and it just keeps going. So you lose that time in your lap because everybody's still going around. So that is extremely frustrating, and it does freeze a little bit going into that last bus stop chicane as we try and brake as late as possible. Ran a little bit wide, maybe probably should have got track limits, but at that point we were a little annoyed. You know, we could have been 7, 8 tenths up, maybe even a second up on our time. And if we would have been able to get that time in, it could have been P5, P6. We would have been fighting around there. But instead, we're going to have to settle for P9. Good thing we did put that lap in, because look, we're 2 1,000ths ahead of the Haas driver. And I mean, P9's not awful. We are better in the race. We know we're better in the race. We're much better in the race than we are in qualifying. So to start P9 isn't dreadful, and it is going to be a wet race, at least in the majority of the race. It's not going to turn dry until later on. So there's going to be opportunities, and in the wet, I like it here in the wet. I'm not going to lie, you know, especially on F123. It's so much easier to drive in the wet than it was on F122. I used to hate it on 22. It was just so slippery, and I seem to spin out every time. This time, I seem to have more control of the car. I know where the limits are a little bit more, which is it's much more helpful. And we're going to chuck on a lot of downforce as well to help us through the corners. So I'm excited for this one. Who doesn't love a little bit of a wet race to spice things up, as we're 5 red lights and we are underway here in Belgium, and it's not a bad start, and we're already alongside the Haas to our left, so not a bad start at all as we come into the braking zone. We brake early. Brilliant. I mean, we've been hit from behind and we've broken our front wing, and we also hit our teammate, which is not our fault at all. But he's gone round, so our teammate's gone round. We've got a broken wing, so we're going to have to come into the pits. And yeah, I mean, that was not our fault at all. Someone's gone flying into the back of us. Let's have a look. So if you have a look, I think it's the Alpine. So the Alpine right behind us, currently P11, as the Haas goes flying into the wall there. But yeah, the Alpine just hit us from behind. And we went into our teammate, and he also hit another car as well. So he's had a bit of a stinker of a start. I mean, you could kind of let him off. Wet conditions, you brake a little bit earlier. But, I mean, come on, you got to be ready for that, as there's 2 spinners already on lap 1. So a bit of carnage going on, but it doesn't really matter because we have to pit. The good thing for us, though, is it's the wet. Likelihood of a safety car is very, very high. And you see that McLaren behind. He's got a drive-through penalty. And I believe that's because he didn't slow down enough under the VSC. He actually exceeded the Delta. So a big mistake from him, because getting a drive-through must be very, very frustrating. That's about 25, 30 seconds worth of a penalty. But we've technically got a drive-through as well, because we've got a broken wing. So we've got to come in, fix our wing. And it could be a long day if we don't get a safety car, and it could be a boring day. But it is wet, it is raining, so we are certainly expecting a safety car, as we're kind of helpless right now. Pretty much we're just avoiding cars, saying see you later to the McLaren, go on, have a good day. See you later to our teammate, go on, we'll get out the way, and we'll come in to the pits, we'll get our wings sorted, and we'll move on from there, because, I mean, there's no point fighting these guys. We've got a broken wing, we can't turn. Or at least it's very difficult to turn, and we're just going to lose seconds per lap if we don't come on in. So we do come on in, change the wing, and now it's kind of a boring race for us until something happens, unless something happens. But we're on lap 2. 20 laps around Belgium in the wet. Surely there's going to be a little bit of carnage, and if not, I reckon we could close it into the cars up ahead. We could maybe finish on the outskirts of points, because I do feel comfortable in the wet around here. I feel like I have decent pace. You can see a couple laps later, we do have decent pace, and there's a lot of screen freezes going on. And I will say, this wasn't happening in the game. This is happening post-recording. There's a safety car comes out, so you see a safety car come out, but post-recording, I realised that pretty much in lap 4, right there, start of lap 4, all the way to the end of the race, it was doing that through my whole footage, which was extremely frustrating. But no worries, I'm a genius. I decided to save the replay, and we can follow the rest of the race through the replay. I know it's not the same, and it's not as good, but it's the best we got. So we're going to go on to the replay, and we're going to look at the best race moments from there. Anyway, a safety car came out, has saved our race, and we're up into P12. Got a new set of inters on, because why not? If we can get a new set of inters on, take them to the end of the rain before we put on a set of softs or mediums, as the Haas is a bit of a moment coming out of turn 1, then that's good news for us. So we're back in the race, especially on the inters. We do feel comfortable, so it's always good to be back in the race, and we can kind of close on in and try and fight for top 10. Outskirts of points is certainly there. I think we could even do better than that. I reckon top 5 could be on the cards if we get going, because I do feel really comfortable on the intermediates and feel a little bit faster than a lot of the cars up ahead. I just think we've had a really unlucky start, and without that wing damage, we would be up there in the top 6, top 7. But we're going to focus on what we got now, As you can see, that Red Bull kind of creating a little bit of a train. So Tommy creating a bit of a train, 2.5 seconds behind our teammate. Our teammate is in the points, so he's doing his bit for Williams. Now we just need to do our bit and find our way through a couple of cars just to try and pick up a few points, which would be oh so important in the Constructors, as well as the Drivers' Championship as well. Oh, the Haas has had a moment. Into the wall he goes. See you later, son. There you go. That's an easy way into the points. And up ahead, there's another yellow flag, and it's the Mercedes, which is huge. It's the Mercedes driver of Fletch. I mean, I don't want to celebrate anybody crashing out, but we are fighting Mercedes in the Constructors' standings. So to see a Mercedes crash out with wing damage is it's a good sight to see, I guess you could say, when we're battling for the Constructors. But at the same time, I hope it wasn't from people crashing him out. You know, I hope he's either made a mistake himself and it's his own fault, because we don't want to see no dirty driving in F13. I think we've seen enough of it in PSGL F1. So we'll keep it out. We'll keep it clean down in F13. But I think there was a little bit of dirty driving here and there in this division. But we had a great time this race. We don't care. We run our own race. We race for fun. And we try and keep it as clean as possible, as we decide to go for a huge gamble onto the mediums early doors. And spoiler alert, it was a mistake. I mean, in Japan, we looked like a genius pitting for Inters when we did. And we're basically the strategy genius. This time, we looked at a Ferrari strategy guide, and we've had a bit of a mare. 8 seconds behind P8, and this is after everybody's done their pit stops. We were losing probably a second half, 2 seconds to the intermediate runners. The first couple of laps, we pit way too early. It was a huge mistake, and it's cost us a lot of positions. So that's a big mistake from me. We rolled the dice. We took the gamble. I mean, yeah, it was a big mistake. I just know how quickly the weather can change in this game, but I guess because it's cloudy and not sunny, I should have realised that more. But anyway, we're on the final lap. Let's focus on the final lap. We've got Casto up ahead in the AlphaTauri. He does have more time penalties than us, so we do not need to overtake him. But he does also have wing damage, so we're trying to find a way through, because Alex up ahead, I think, just had an incident, and now he's going slow, as that was really weird. The AlphaTauri, I'm not sure what he was doing. I think he was trying to let us past, but we were sitting behind trying to get a good exit, and it was almost like he brake checked us a little bit, but I think he was trying to be nice to let us pass and let us go. But anyway, we've got through anyway, so we're up in a P7, and it's going to be P7. We can't catch up to the Ferrari. Another lap, we might have been able to, but it is going to be P7. It's a few more points. Our teammate did DNF. He did crash out in the end, so he's down in P14, but a P7, we'll take it. It's just more points for Williams, and it's just keeping our status as that consistent point scorers, picking up the scraps, doing what we can do. If you are enjoying this PSGL series, make sure you go ahead, leave a like, subscribe, and comment on where you think I'm going to finish in the championships. And I'll see you guys next time. Peace.